this will be the course structure: introduction to offensive security, overview of penetration testing process, introduction to red teaming, and then we'll be seeing some hands-on practical on scanning and how to exploit the vulnerabilities. The very first thing that we are going to discuss about is what is offensive security. So we have heard about this term a lot. Okay, so whenever we hear this term security, or whenever we are trying to start into security, what we have two terms, right? One is information security, and then we have cybersecurity. Everyone might have gone through these terms somewhere. You might have heard these terms, right? So when we talk about information security is the universal set of security. It makes sure that wherever your data is present, it's safe and secure, be it in physical format or in digital format. Cybersecurity, on the other hand, is the subset of information security, right? What it does, it safeguards the data or secures the data only in the digital realm or digital space, you can say. That's cybersecurity. Now, when we move transition into cybersecurity, we are always confused that which one to choose and where to go, which certifications to do, like many things, many dilemmas we have, right? So it's broken into two sides, cybersecurity. One is offensive and one is defensive side. Now, defensive are the people who safeguard your network or your web applications. They will put patches, security updates. They will work on uh, like software, making software secure or network secure. They will work with firewalls, right? And intrusion detection systems and many security measures, right? Those are also called blue teamers, if you have heard, right? Then we have offensive side. When we talk about offensive side, it means that you're not only hacking. We always think that it's hacking, right? Offensive security, it is basically performing the attacks in an ethical way so that you're not affecting the systems, the day-to-day operations of the organization, and yet you are able to find out the vulnerabilities. And once you are able to find out the vulnerabilities, you will report those vulnerabilities, you will discuss them with the team members, and then you will have to give the remediation also, right? So offensive security, we also call it offsec in short, right? So this offsec, it refers to a proactive security strategy that use the same tactics malicious actors use in real world attacks to strengthen network security rather than harm it, right? So our goal is to identify and fix vulnerabilities before attackers can exploit them. Now, when we are talking about offensive security, so it includes techniques like penetration testing, red teaming, social engineering, exploit development. Now, there are two terms written adjacently, if you can see. One is penetration testing, other one is red teaming. Are both of these same, or these different? Now, when we are talking about penetration testing means this is the way by which in which you ethically perform the attacks, right? And you find out the vulnerabilities, you exploit the vulnerabilities, right? That's what we have heard. Now, what is red teaming then? So basically, for now, understand penetration testing as a noisy process, right? And its red teaming is a stealth process. So when we are talking about red teaming, red teaming means that you are testing the overall security posture of your organization, including the defenses, detection, and response capabilities. So there I'm not only finding out the web like vulnerabilities, right? I'm checking that if I try to perform this attack and if I try to stay as stealthy as I can, will this organization be able to detect or not? Right? In penetration testing, you will be given a web application. You just have a scope. So in that web application, you just have to find out vulnerabilities and then you have to give the recommendations that how you will remediate these vulnerabilities. Right? That's how they are different. In penetration testing, everyone in the organization knows that pen testing is going on. Right? So lots of logs will be generated. No one will check the logs and they will remove the logs and lots of things will be happening. But in red teaming, you have to be stealthy. You don't have to get detected by SOC people, right? The people who are monitoring every time, 24/7, right? Then we have social engineering. What's social engineering? So we have seen lots of emails, right? Attackers, they send emails and then those emails, they contain links or attachments. And if we download them, attacker will get the access of our system. So social engineering is, it's basically called hacking the human, right? Why we call it hacking the human? Because we are using the tactics to get the information out of the person and deceiving them, right? So we all have heard about phishing, right? Phishing is done over emails. So this is social engineering. Next, we have exploit development. What is exploit development? So when we talk about exploit development, this is the process of creating code or methods that take advantage of vulnerabilities in software or systems. So this skill, it is a very crucial part for offensive security because it allows ethical hackers to understand how attackers might exploit the weaknesses, right? So you will research about the vulnerabilities, right? So which systems or applications you have to analyze, then you will look for flaws in the target that could be exploited. Then we do reverse engineering. We break down the software to understand its structure and behavior, right? Then we study how software works and where the vulnerability lies. Then we will create code that take advantage of the identified vulnerabilities, and we make sure that the exploit works reliably and consistently, right? So you should have a deep understanding of programming, system architecture, and security concepts, right? So it's both art and science, right? Balancing creativity with technical precision, right? So that's exploit development. Now, the goal of offensive security is to identify security gaps and potential attack vectors before malicious attackers actors can exploit them. So that's the truth. Like you have to find out the vulnerabilities in your softwares, in your networks, in your applications, devices before anyone else can find out the vulnerabilities and exploit those vulnerabilities. Right now, next thing is that what will be the path to offensive security? How you can start into offensive security, get to the advanced level, what things you should know, what certifications you will do, right? And in between. So the very first thing that you should have foundational knowledge, right? In networking, in Linux and cybersecurity. So you should, in networking, you should know what is OSI model, right? How it works, how the data is transferred from one device to another, from one place to another, what are the different protocols used, right? What different protocols are there on which the internet is working, like there is border gateway, BGP, right? So border gateway protocol. So what are the protocols being used in every single step of data transfer? What protocols routers are using? How the configuration of networking devices it happens, right? So network devices like router you have, switches you have, bridges you have, right? How the configuration happens, how security is deployed on them, right? What kind of securities or secure protocols they are using, how they are finding out the path where to send the data, right? So like in router we have IP routing table, so how IP routing table works, how it gets updated, right? These types of things in networking you should know. Then advanced level networking like content delivery networks you should know, right? Software defined networking you should know, right? That how it works. Then the different types of architectures of network, how these architectures are different from each other, what are the uh, advantages and disadvantages of using different types of networks. Then your networking tools, like we have firewalls, right? what what are firewalls, what are different types of firewalls, how firewalls are deployed, and how they are, uh, how you work with them, right? How you write the rules in the firewall, what things you should keep in mind while writing the rules. Then how IDS works, intrusion detection system, intrusion prevention system, how to do the monitoring, right? All those things, networking things you should know. Then after that you should move to Linux, because Linux is the one that we use for exploitation. And like you have Kali Linux and Parrot OS. So either you use Kali Linux or Parrot OS, but it depends like which one you are choosing, right? But you should know the commands of Linux, how like background processes works, how the basic what are the basic commands of Linux, process control, right? Flow control, uh, how to manage the Linux system, how, what are the different tools that you use in Linux, what are the commands to use those tools, right? File handling commands. So those things you should know, right? After that you step into cybersecurity, where you learn the basics of cybersecurity, like what is CIA triad, right? Like how cybersecurity works, how it is different from information security, what are the things you need to need in cybersecurity if you want to enter into cybersecurity, right? What basic level understandings, what is ethical hacking, the basic ethical hacking essentials, penetration testing. Then you will learn a, like after learning this you will learn little bit of scripting also, that how you write your own scripts, right? You can write your scripts in bash also, or you can write your scripts in Python also. Now, once you are done with the scripting part, then you will move to the advanced part. So you will learn ethical hacking frameworks, like you will learn about OWASP for web application, Metasploit for exploitation, right? Metasploit framework is there, which gives you multiple tools, like exploits are there to exploit different vulnerability, exploit codes are present. Then Metasploit framework also has uh, like payloads, right? The payloads that you send to the target machines to get the access of the machines, right? They have scan different types. It has different types of scanners. It has different types of scripts that will find more information for you, that will do enumeration for you, right? That's what you will learn. Then you will learn tools like Burp Suite for web application pen testing. You will use Nikto for web application pen testing, right? Then you will use more tools like Akunetics web vulnerability scanner, right? That you will use, right, to understand how scanning works. Then you will use the tools, manual pen testing you will do, right? That how to exploit different types of vulnerabilities. Then for network pen testing, maybe you will use the Empire framework, right? You are using Empire framework. You are trying to create macros, or you are basically using tools like mimic ads, right? For Active Directory pen testing, right? Different scripts, right? For Active Directory or web application based, sorry, Windows based exploits, right? So these are the tools that you have to learn. Once you are done with them, then you will move to the special skills like exploit development, red teaming, and then you will do certifications. Okay. So now if I get to the part of the certification process, right? The very first thing is, if you have learned all these things, right, whichever we have discussed, the first certification that you will go for CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker, and it is given by EC Council, right? Now, this certification is an entry level certification, and why I'm suggesting you this certification in very first place, that it will give you the idea about all the domains. What domains are there in the cybersecurity? When you step into the offensive side of the security, you don't know anything. Where to go, what to learn, and what to see. For once, you will think that let me learn everything, right? Then you come to a fact that if I want to learn every single thing, then you have to spend years in doing that, right? So for starting, you have to choose a domain. So until unless you have the knowledge of the domain, that what are the different domains in cybersecurity, where I can go, where I can work, so that will be easier for you to find your path. So CH gives you the idea about everything. Like there is network also, that how network pen testing happens. In network there is wireless also, right? Then there is web application pen testing also. There is IoT and OT pen testing also, right? There is the part which teaches you about uh, the cryptography part, right? So you have web application, you have IoT pen testing, network pen testing, wireless pen testing, Active Directory pen testing, like every single thing, right? So once you have an introductory idea about all the domains, now you can choose in which domain you have to work upon, or the domain that you like a lot, right? Once you are done with the CH, then you can move forward, right? Now moving forward means that now you have to choose what type of certifications you want to do, right? Now, mid-level certifications you can do, like for let's say you want to do for web application. So you can do EWPTX, right, from IN Security, right? That's web application pen testing extreme. Or you can also do EWPT. That's for web application pen testing only, right? Let's say you want to move to mobile application pen testing. So you can do mobile application pen testing training and certification EMAPT from again IN Security, right? Then after that, let's say you want to move to a big vendor certification, right? So I will suggest you that you directly do not move to the higher level, right? That CPENT or OSCP level certifications. Here, take a stop and learn some defensive skills. If you are not aware, if you don't know how defensive people they stop the attack, they mitigate the vulnerabilities, will you be able to write a effective code of exploit that will take the advantage of the vulnerability? No, right? If you are not aware how how the firewall is working, how it is detecting the attacks, so then you cannot write a code which will bypass the firewall, which will bypass the rules written in the firewall, right? So here you have to enhance your defensive skills. I'm not saying that you have to enhance the skill to its advanced level, that become a defensive guy now. So you have to know how these things are working, how they, what's their uh, action, how they do the action and how they work basically, right? The defensive people. and also learn about here forensics a little bit, right? So that you can perform anti-forensics techniques. Now, after learning these skills, then you can move to high-end certifications. Like, let's say you go for CPENT, that's Certified Pen Tester from EC Council. And if you score more than 90%, so with CPENT, you also get LPT Masters, Licensed Penetration Tester. Then you can go for OSCP as well, Offensive Security Certified Professional, right? These kinds of certification. Then you can also go for Web 200, right? That is again for from offensive security, but this is the certification only for web application people. OSCP is a certification which gives you the idea about network pen testing, a little bit web application, and a huge amount of Active Directory pen testing, right? That's OSCP certification. Now, once you are done with these certifications, so that says that you have the skills to perform a penetration testing, right? Now, let's say I want to enhance my skills more, right? So after OSCP, you can go for OSCP is Pentest 200, you can go for Pentest 300, right? That's OSEP, right? Now, OSEP is the certification where you showcase your evasion skills, that how you can evade the firewalls, or how you can evade the IDS, IPS, or security measures in between, right? So that's next step, right? Then for if you want to do it for web application, so you can go for Web 300, right? That's the advanced level techniques for exploiting the web applications. Perfect. Now, let's say I want to enhance my red teaming skills and I want to do a certification, which is basically which will give me the idea about uh, like red team operations, advanced attacks techniques, right? I want to learn that, right? So after honing your defensive skills, you can go for a certification called CRTP, Certified Red Team Professional, right? So there you will get an environment which is basically an environment which is 100% secure, right? 100% updates are there and it's made secure. Now you have to hack that environment. That will be a Windows Active Directory environment. And inside Active Directory, you have to do the pen testing and find out the vulnerabilities and all, right? So that's your path to offensive security and become a pen tester. Now, apart from these certifications, you can do the certifications from SANS also, right? So, like, let's say you are doing GPen, right? So it's GIAC penetration tester. But the thing is, these are very expensive certifications. One certification will cost you around $10,000, right? So these certifications are very like expensive. But others are, yeah, OSCP and OffSec certifications, they are around 1,500 and $1,700. But these are too much expensive. Uh, Tabi, I will suggest that taking one big cert is better than taking five small certifications. But if you want to learn them, yeah, you can learn them. But uh, we have to just focus on the certifications which are basically good. So if you think that the certification that you are thinking of, it has good amount of knowledge, so yes, you should go for it, right? Then you can go for the bigger one. For SOC, you can go for OSDA, Offensive Security Defensive Analyst, right? So that's again from the company which provides OSCP, right? It's called SOC 200. So no, it depends that which certification you're talking about. The first certification that I told, that is a theoretical certification. Training will be practical also. That was CEH, but others, all of them, they are practical certifications. So you have to hack the machines and get the certificate by yours for yourself. Right. So for SOC, you can use or you can do SOC 200, and SOC 200 will give you like there you use Kali Purple. So Kali Purple is the place where there are tools related to red team and blue team both. So the attacking part is also there, and uh, like defensive part is also there. You can go to the website of SANS, Daniel. You can check what they are uh, like giving. But yes, content is nice, but cost us too much because it's a like big company, or like the organizations, they purchase certifications from them. So that's why their cost is too much. Now, next thing that we have is what can be tested, right? Now, what can be tested? There are two ways or two meanings of this thing. Either we are talking about scope, right? So whenever we do pen testing, we have a scope, right? That what things can be tested, what things cannot be tested. Like there are 100 PCs in my organization. You have to test them, but using those PCs, you don't have to test the server which is there because it has critical data. Other, the second meaning of what can be tested means in cybersecurity, what things you can test, you are allowed to test, right? So when we are talking about what can be tested, what do you think? What things can be tested in an organization, in a company? If I'm sitting, right, I have to test, and someone is saying that you can test anything here. What are the things that you can test? So maximum of things in the organization can be tested, right? You can test the infrastructure, right? You can test the network, right? You can test the network devices also, right? Applications. Now it can be a computer application, it can be a web application, it can be a mobile application, right? Any application can be tested. Then if you are using any IoT or OT devices, those can be tested. Yes. What else? Users. Yes, social engineering pen testing we can do, right? Wireless. Yes. Wired. Yes. Everything, right? All the devices that you are able to see, you can test them, you can find out the faults in them, you can find the fault in the network, the perimeter devices that you are using, the endpoint devices that you are using, right? Everything. Even when you do the testing, you are also testing the defenses, right? How the responders are working. So whenever any attack happens in an organization, right, and you just detected the attack, so it's not only detection, but after detection, what to do, what step to take, right? And that thing is done by a person called first responder who works in incident response team, right? So when we talk about this first responder, so whenever you are doing pen testing, even that first responder is also getting tested, that how he will react, how he or she will reply back, what response they will give to this attack, right? That is also tested. Perfect. So develop your, in this image you can see it shows attack surface, right? So it says your attack surface is made up of, and all these things are written, many things, right? First, you have to understand that what is an attack surface. Then we'll move to what things are there in the attack surface, right? When we talk about attack surface, it means all the points where attacker can try to attack. So let's say, let's take an example. Uh, you guys might be wearing a smartwatch. Okay, let's assume that someone wears a smartwatch, right? Now, for that smartwatch, there will be an application installed in the mobile phone, right? Now, if I have to analyze or I have to find out the attack surface of this smartwatch or of this environment, so what it will be, first, application based attacks can happen, right? Then, firmware based attacks, right? Now, smartwatch is sending data. You are able to see your health condition, your blood pressure, and number of steps you have uh, taken. You have walked today. So, smartwatch is sending data to the application also. So that means network-based attacks can happen because on the network they are communicating. Then, when let's say I lost the mobile phone, right? I somewhere forgot it or I lost a mobile phone. Now I purchased a new one. When I purchased the new mobile phone, so I installed the application again, logged into my ID, and when I logged in, so the whole historical data will be back. If that historical data is back, that means the data was not saved inside the mobile phone, it was being saved somewhere else, right? Now, if it is being saved or stored somewhere else, that somewhere else can be cloud platform, right? So here we can perform cloud based attacks also, right? Perfect. So that's what can be tested, right? Now, next thing that we have a word called hack. We have heard this word a lot. Now, when we talk about the word hack, we have always heard that it is taking unauthorized access or uh, hacking the device, gaining access to a computer or gaining access to any mobile phone application, anything, right? Now, these are the technical terms for hack. But what if you remove the technicality of the word hack? You don't have to tell me in a technical way that what hack is. Now, let me tell you a story, right? Or an analogy. Think of hack, something, a way of doing thing where you don't have to follow a process, right? If you read about the word hack, right, in the dictionary it says cutting something into pieces by sheer force, right? We have another definition, doing anything in an unconventional way or in a shortcut way. Now we can do many things in a shortcut way. It's not always to find out uh, to find vulnerabilities and all, right? So you might know that toothpaste is for teeth. Yes. If I'm using that toothpaste to clean my shoes, white shoes, right? My sneakers, they are they are shining now. But was toothpaste made for this? No. But at that time, I found a life hack that how to clean it without getting the shoes wet. Yes. That's a life hack, right? We have seen lots of life hacks, right? We watch videos on YouTube or many platforms, right? There they show how effectively you can do the packing, right? How to pack your denims, how to pack your shirts, right? Different things, right? So that's a hack, a life hack. That if you have a small bag, how you can fit multiple things in it, how you can uh, store the things in an effective way, right? That's hack. Now, if I bring back all the technicalities of the word hack, so then you have two things: device and networks. Without devices, you cannot hack anything, right? The technical hack, right? Taking the unauthorized access, getting the information from the system, right? You cannot do that. Or without network, you have to be present in front of the device. You cannot steal the information without the network. Yes, right. So, hacking is basically something like you are sneaking into a castle, right? So, think of your computers or a system as a big, strong castle with lots of treasures inside, right? Usually, people enter a castle through the front gate if they have permission, right? An attacker finds secret passages or weak spots in the castle walls to sneak inside without permission, right? The people they use two keys to enter the castle. Hackers or attackers they use special programs and codes as their keys to unlock their secret passages, right? Then attackers what they do? They sneak around to find and take treasures without anyone noticing, right? And then they will slip back out through the secret passage without getting caught, right? That's what hacking is. Yes. Now, next we have types of hackers. The first thing that I want to know from you guys, who is a hacker? And I've seen lots of people uh, in past sessions breaking my heart after giving the information about hacker or the definition of hacker. So when we talk about hackers, right? Hacker is a person who basically has sound knowledge about the networks and system administration. That person is called hacker. If you are good with system administration and you have good information about the networks, you will be called as a hacker, right? In 1950s, this hacker term was given to those people that who have the information about the system administration and network. A person who uses his or her skills or knowledge to find the vulnerability, steal the data, exploit the vulnerability, and steal the data, that person is called attacker, right? But nowadays, everyone calls them hackers. But hacker is a term given to a person who is good, who has good amount of knowledge, right? Now we have different types of hackers. The first one is black hat hacker. Who are black hat hackers? When we are talking about this attack, right? So any person who uses his or her skills for his own good, like it can be used for monetary gains, right? It can be a revenge also, right? Who do the hacking for his own good, right? Using unethical ways, right? That person is black hat hacker. So black hat hackers will use dark web tools or deep web tools, and they will not take permission for doing the hacking, and they will hack into the system, steal the information, make it public. That's what black hat hackers do, right? So they have bad intention. Then we have white hat hackers. When we talk about white hat hackers, these are ethical people, right? Ethical in the sense they will ask for permission for doing the hacking, then they will perform the hacking, right? After performing the hacking, whatever vulnerabilities they have found, they will report it to the organization so that the organization can remediate or fix those vulnerabilities, right? And these people, they are called pen testers. The people who are working as pen testers in the organization, those are white hat hackers. Then we have gray hat hackers. Now, what do you think about gray hat hackers? Combination of white and black. Now, when we are talking about gray hat hackers, these are the hackers who are basically, you can say, these are the combo of black and white. Now, why we say that they are the combination of black and white? We have always heard that like who are the combination of black and white, but how they are combination of black and white? When they are doing the hacking, they are not asking it from for they are not asking for the permission. So that's a characteristic of a black hat, right? But once they find out a vulnerability, they will basically report that vulnerability. That's the characteristic of a white hat, right? Right? So these are the traits. They have the traits of both, right? So if you see the security researchers that are there, right? So these security researchers, what they do, they sometimes discover security flaws and they disclose them responsibly, right? And then the vulnerability is fixed, right? That's gray hat, right? Then we have script kiddies. What are script kiddies? So script kiddies are nothing but these are just the curious minds who do the hacking for fun, right? And these are the people, they will basically they're not aware that what the tool is doing. Either they will uh, find out some YouTube video or a tutorial on like Reddit or anywhere, walkthrough given, right? The steps given, and they will just follow the steps as it is, and they just they do the hacking, right? Like it's basically a person who is not aware about what is happening in the back end, how the tool is working, what things are happening. He or she just knows that we have to run these commands, and after these commands we'll have the password of the user, or we'll have the username, or we'll have the access of the system, right? So those are script kiddies, right? Honey, gray hat hackers are those who have the characteristics of both black hat and white hat. So they don't ask for permission to do the hacking, but after hacking, if they find out any vulnerability, they report that vulnerability to the organization so that they can safeguard themselves. Then we have cyber terrorists. What are cyber terrorists? These are the people who do the hacking, and due to the hack, human life is at stake. So, cyber terrorists, these are what? They are basically the people, right? Like, let's say there is an airplane, right? Let's say airways. So, they hack the airways so that the people or the people who are like working with the planes or the plane like airplane company, they are not able to see where to go for further, right? That's what that's basically done by cyber terrorists, right? Attacker compromising hospital or medical devices, right? So that is what that is again a kind of attack done by the cyber terrorists, right? Where human life is at stake. Next, we have suicidal hackers. Now, what do you think? What do you think? What they can be? Suicidal hackers, unconcerned with jail time. They attack with their targets without concern for whether they will get caught. So, suicidal hackers are the people who know that what will be the outcome of hacking. If they will do this hack, they will be behind the bars, right? That's what those are. Your suicidal hackers, right? They don't fear. Now, there was a very famous Algerian hacker whose name was Hamza. You might have seen this many years back. This image. It was very viral, right? And it says this is Hamza Bendela and hacked 217 banks and made 4,000 million USD, donated everything to Africa and Palestine. And it says he was executed with a smile. But the thing is that he was not executed. He's still behind the bars, still alive, right? So hacking, if you're doing hacking, so there is no rule written that for hacking a person can be executed, right? So that means he's behind the bars. He is not just dead, right? Next we have hacktivist. Now when we talk about hacktivist, who are hacktivists? Now when we are talking about hacktivist, these are what hacktivist is a term which is made from two words, hack and activists, right? So use hacking to promote political agendas, social justice causes, or protest against entities they perceive as corrupt, right? Now, one of the most well-known hacktivist group is Anonymous. You might have heard. Then, nation-state actors. Now, what are nation-state actors? Now, nation-state actors, these are the groups or individuals which are sponsored by government to conduct cyber operations for political, economic, or military purposes. And these actors, they are highly skilled and well resourced, which makes them capable of carrying out sophisticated and prolonged cyber attacks. Then we have advanced persistent threats. What are advanced persistent threats? So APTs are what? These actors, they engage in long-term targeted attacks to gain access to sensitive information and disrupt critical systems. So if I'm an APT, I will be staying inside your system for a longer period of time, and after staying inside your system, I'll make sure that you have the information, right? You have the proper I have the proper information. I know what you are doing in your network and your devices, right? What things you are doing, right? So that is what that is your advanced persistent threats, right? They stay inside your system for a longer period of time. When we are talking about the different types of hackers, have you heard of insiders? Employees or contractors who exploit their rights, their access to organizational system for personal gain or to cause harm, right? Or disgruntled employees who are motivated by revenge or dissatisfaction. Now, these things we have heard, right, many times. Who are red hat hackers? So, we call them the red hat hackers, we call them vigilant hackers, right? So, they focus on attacking the black hat hackers and stopping their activities, right? And their methods may be aggressive and sometimes borderline illegal, right? So these are the hackers who hack the black hat hackers and stop their activities. Those are called red hat hackers. What about blue hat? So these are pre-recruitment testers, right? They work with companies on contract basis to test new software for vulnerabilities before release, right? So like we have bug bounty hunters, right? So bug bounty hunters, what they do, they participate in bug bounty programs to find and report security flaws in exchange for rewards, right? Those are called blue hat hackers, right? Some new information. Next thing that we have is penetration testing. So penetration testing, also called pen test or pen testing, it is a method of evaluating the security of an information system by simulating an attack from malicious outsiders or malicious insiders, right? So it aims to identify the gaps that attackers could exploit. It results help organization to strengthen their defenses and mitigate the risk, right? That is penetration testing, right? Now, when we are talking about penetration testing, so there are strategies of penetration testing. So we have white box, black box, and gray box pen testing. Yes. So what is black box pen testing? See, the thing is that when we are discussing about pen testing, it is a type of security testing which evaluates the or like organization's ability to protect its infrastructure like network, application systems, and users from external as well as internal threats, right? So by pen testing, you can determine the efficacy of the organization's security policies, controls, and technologies, right? So it involves the active evaluation of the security of the organization's infrastructure, right, by simulating an attack similar to the ones which are performed by the real attackers, right? So when we talk about the different strategies of penetration testing, so these strategies, they are assessing differently. Why? First, if we are talking about black box pen testing, right? So black box pen testing does what? It assumes that the pen tester has no previous knowledge of the infrastructure which needs to be tested, right? So the tester has no information about the target, right? The penetration test, it must be conducted after extensive information gathering, right? So you do a lot of reconnaissance. Now this test, it simulates the process of real hacking and it gathers publicly available information like domain and IP address, right? It's time consuming and it is expensive, right? Then we have white gray box pen testing. Now, what is gray box pen testing? In gray box pen testing, the tester will have limited information, right? So security assessment and testing, they are internally performed, right? So it tests application for all vulnerabilities that a hacker might find and exploit, right? And it is performed mostly when a pen tester starts a black box test on well protected systems and finds that a little prior knowledge is required to conduct a thorough review, right? Then we have white box pen testing. White box pen testing means that the tester is given complete information on the infrastructure which needs to be tested, and it simulates the process of a company's employees. It helps in revealing bugs and vulnerabilities more quickly, right? And it provides assurance on complete testing coverage because the testers know what exactly to test. Now, white box testing is of two types: announced and unannounced, right? What is announced white box testing? So announced white box testing means we are attempting to compromise systems on a client network with the full cooperation and knowledge of the IT staff, right? So we are examining the existing security infrastructure for possible vulnerabilities, right? It involves the client's organization, security staff, and the pen testing team, right? Unannounced testing means it attempts to compromise systems on the client network without the knowledge of IT security personnel. So only the upper management is aware of these tests. It examines the security infrastructure and responsiveness of the IT staff, that how they will respond to the attack happening, right? Same like that, black box testing is also of two types. What are those two types? So the two types of black box testing is first one, blind, and second one, double blind. Blind black box testing, it basically simulates the methodologies of a real hacker, right? Limited or no information is provided to the pen testing team, and it is time consuming and expensive process, right? The normal black box testing, which we call, that is blind. Double blind means few people in the organization are aware of the penetration test being conducted, and it involves testing an organization's security monitoring, incident identification, and response procedures, right? That is double blind. So these are the strategies of penetration testing. Next, there are different phases in the penetration testing. Like we have pre-engagement phase, where we will be talking in terms of the scope, right? What will be the scope of the pen testing? Then determining what systems, networks, or applications will be testing, and what goals of the test are there. Then intelligence gathering will be there, right? So in intelligence gathering, you will collect the data about the target, like IP addresses, domain names, network infrastructure, right? So reconnaissance or information gathering, you also call it. Then you do threat modeling, right? Now, when we talk about threat modeling, what's that? You will be using hypothetical scenarios or system diagrams and testing to check what can be the vulnerabilities, or where we can basically start the attack from, right? After that vulnerability analysis, you will analyze the vulnerabilities, you will do the scanning using different tools and analyze uh, vulnerabilities, that which vulnerabilities are there, right? And then you will be exploiting those vulnerabilities. You will be taking the advantage of the vulnerabilities, taking the excess of the system. Then post exploration, that after exploitation of the vulnerability, you will, after that you will explore the environment more. Like, I have access of your system, now I will analyze that what things are there in your company, what devices are there. And then there will be reporting phase, right? So from the reporting phase, whatever information, whatever vulnerabilities you have found, you will be using those vulnerabilities, right? Writing the information about them, that how you found and how you exploited those vulnerabilities, and how to basically remediate those vulnerabilities, right? So remediation also you have to tell, right? So these are the phases in the penetration testing that we have. Now there are some questions that you have. So if you have been contracted to perform an attack against a target system, you are what type of hacker? So you are attacking the system, and you are taking a contract, right? So you are given the permission to perform the attack. So that's done by white hat hackers. Which of the following describes a hacker who attacks without regard for being caught or punished? So he's not afraid of anyone. That's suicidal hacker, suicide hacker. Then next, there are different ways of pen test of a system, network, or application in information security based on how much information you have about the target. Now, there's black box testing, white box testing, and gray box testing. Which of the statement is true about gray box testing? So the correct answer is C. The tester only partially knows the internal structure, right? So tester has partial information about the system, right? Great. So that's it for today.